The Storybook Spooks, Part 2.
Choose the first book that takes your interest, and then you may leave. You don't have long left before I have to pack away. There may not be many books left. It's been a very successful day. As she said those last words, the bookshop woman had her back to me, but her cheekbones were raised. I guess I must have been one of the late arrivals. That's why there aren't many books left. I walked in between the bookcases. I couldn't wait to grab a book and run out of there, but seeing the bright front covers and happy smiley faces, I couldn't bring myself to spend the money. Not this, no way, come on, there has to be something. I had marched through each aisle until there was one book that stood out. It stood out because the front cover was blank, giving no hint of what the book might be about. It was plain metallic, almost shimmering gold. It didn't even have a title. As I held the book in my two hands, it felt heavy, considerably heavier than its size suggested. This book must have lots of stories inside, I thought. Good value for money. I turned the book over, and in the light it looked faintly yellow. Cool, it changed colour. I flipped through the pages backwards and forwards. That's odd. I flipped through the pages, slower now. The writing inside is changing. The font. It goes from bold to almost old-fashioned, slanted handwriting. Okay, now this is definitely the weirdest book I've ever seen. Perfect! I walked back to pay, almost hitting into a chair by the door because my eyes were hooked on this rare book. I had to put the book into alternate hands after only a few seconds at a time. It was getting heavy. Ow, my arm, what is this? I heaved the book with both hands onto the desk. Where's the woman gone, I thought. I'm here, she said, marching through from a back room I wasn't aware existed. I'll tell you what, that book is free. Free? Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. I'm flattered you chose it. You see, I've read that book. We must share the same taste. It would give me the greatest... She paused for a while, thinking of the correct word to use. Joy. Why do you look at me that way? You said the word joy, but your face didn't look very joyful. Oh, I was. I think your mother is worried about you. You better go meet her. I didn't tell you my mother was waiting for me. You can hear, if you listen hard enough. Where do you live, by the way? I live in the village, Cathedral Road. I thought I knew everyone in the village. I walk past Cathedral Road most days on my way to school, and I haven't seen anyone who looks like you around. No offence. I can assure you I did live there at one time. Oh, I thought you meant you live there now. No, used to. The place I live now is much more sparse. Lots of countryside, very basic, no shops. You ask too many questions. Sorry, I get like that. I'm just curious. Well, I better go. My excitement over the unusual book overrode my fear. Well, bye then. I didn't hear her say bye back. It was 10 o'clock. Well, 10:03 p.m. The luminous glow-in-the-dark digital clock told me. I was savouring a read of the book until night time. I couldn't be sure if the book was scary or not, but the circumstances in which I bought it certainly were. I pulled my single duvet up over my head and opened my windows for some night air. Otherwise I'd be sweltering in this sudden burst of hot weather. I turned my bedside light off and at the same time turned the switch of my torch on. Mum had said I could buy a book, although I didn't show her my choice when I stuffed it into my carrier bag. But something told me she wouldn't approve of this one. I reached under my bed with one arm. Skipping rope, ball, here it is, book. It was quite light so I could lift it easily with one arm. I tucked it under the covers onto my lap. Suddenly the book felt a lot heavier. Playing tricks on me again, I whispered to the book. I shined the light from the torch onto the hardback metallic gold front cover. It was still the same as it had been in the shop. I used my left hand to open the front cover. After reading a couple of pages, I knew this wasn't a typical bedtime story. The writing was in large, bold writing, which would suggest a read for younger children, but it wasn't. It wasn't so much telling me a story, but updating me on real-life facts about a story from the past, but written as though the past was in the present. It seemed old-fashioned. Each character in the book had a short description written about them. Their appearance, occupation, role in village life, age, date of birth, etc. It was as though the writer had published an unfinished plan of the characters he or she planned to use. Look, I'll show you an example. Lola turned a few pages at random and placed a finger under the first line, which read, George Tucker, 43 years old. Lola read some more. She came across his occupation listed as Chandler. What's a Chandler? Lola thought. She fumbled for her phone and looked up the definition. So he's a candle maker. Cool. Married to Dawn with an 18-month-old daughter. There was a heading underlined which read Nature and Good written next to it. Well, that's good, Lola laughed. Personality was written as forward, bold, confident, charming, happy disposition but short-tempered. Many words followed, but Lola didn't want to waste time by reading them. She just wanted to get to the juicy bits. Appearance, ruddy complexion, fat stomach, balding crown of head, 5'8", big hands. Lola found it funny to read. It was like a description of a real person rather than a character. What freaked Lola out most was under life form it read other, worldly. Then the word spook. Goosebumps ran up Lola's forearm so she could see every arched, electrified hair. Lola hoped that was a joke, but once again her instincts told her it wasn't. But she quickly pushed these doubts to the back of her mind. She quickly flipped through the book towards the back, furthest away from the words she had just read. A woman that caught Lola's eye straight away was drawn out in a pencil sketch. There was no mistaking the similarity. The woman in the sketch was called Edith Edmonds, 52 years old, was married, husband deceased. Her nature, Lola wasn't shocked to read, was bad. Occupation, medium, fortune teller. Edith Edmonds' personality was written down as manipulative, cruel, wicked, deceitful, dishonest, violent. Lola didn't want to read any more, scared of what other words might pop up. Her heart sunk as she once again read life form, otherworldly, spook. Lola didn't need to read the physical description. She could see for herself. It was the same woman from the shop. The eyes, the hair, which was slightly shorter, looked like her real hair, not a dyed-looking wig that she'd seen in the shop. The same heavy-lidded eyes were looking empty, and her mouth was drooped into a slight frown. There was no hint of jewellery, and her clothes looked like tatty basic rags. Current address, it wrote, prison, crime, theft and forgery, sentence, till death. That's why she didn't have her jewellery. This sketch must have been from a prison cell, Lola thought. It doesn't surprise me that she'd end up in prison. Didn't the woman in the shop say she'd read the book herself? Maybe she wrote it too. Oh no, she couldn't have. Otherwise, why create a character of herself to put in prison forever? I think she was playing mind games with me. I think she did read it, ready to pass it on to me. There's no doubt she lured me into taking that book, but why? Why do it? Why did she want me to read it? Lola flipped through the book again, looking out for any clues which could help her make sense of this. She spotted an old map sketch of a village. It didn't take Lola long to understand. The roads, the river, the church, the inn, all in the same position as they are today. Instead of shops, there were many farms and lands taking up most of the space. It was the exact same village Lola lived in today, except, Lola thought, why, this must have been hundreds of years old. Lola was by this point exhausted, not physically, but mentally. It was all too much to process for one night. She needed to shut the book and sleep on it. As Lola was about to shut the book, she caught a glimpse of the last page and had the shock of her life. She tore the blanket away and put her side lamp back on. The page after Edith Edmonds' description read, Lola Johnson. That's me! Lola gasped out loud before covering her mouth. Underneath her name it said, current life form, human, worldly. Currently? What does that mean, currently? Lola couldn't stop herself from shouting. She hid staring outside her bedroom and quickly turned off the torch and side light. Her bedroom door opened ajar. One of her parents was waiting to see if she was awake. Lola pretended to be asleep, but after a few minutes she stopped pretending and went out like her torchlight. It took Lola a while to wake. She had overslept. She heard her dad say, "There you are," as he left a hot cup of tea in her mug, which had a black bold letter L on it, on her desk by the door. Lola stirred. She was smiling without a care in the world. Then she turned over onto her side and felt something prod into her stomach. Ow! With a pang of pain from the book digging into her waist and the pain of realization, Lola remembered last night. She propped her pirouette behind her and turned to the end page. It had been updated. Lola traced where she had last read with the top of her finger. Lola Johnson, current life form, human, worldly. After that it read,
"Now it's time to see which role in village life has been assigned to you.
Another message underneath appeared.
If you fail to follow the rules, there will be repercussions. It's time to find out. Which spook are you? But not quite yet. Come back at 10:03 this evening to read your next instructions."
It wants me back at the same time I opened the book last night. I don't like this book. I don't want to decide which spook I'll be. I'd rather not be a spook at all, thanks. She shouted at the book, hoping it could hear her. At least put me out of my misery now. Don't leave me waiting. But waiting she did. She couldn't do what she usually did on a Sunday, which was have as much fun and relaxation before school on Monday. It really has control over me, this book. Well, I'm not going to let it take up any more of my thoughts. As far as I'm concerned, it's trying to scare me, and I won't let it. I'll see whatever message it has left tonight, but I'm not going to take it seriously. Lola was so determined she wasn't going to let the book rule over her that she wasted time doing the most boring chores she could think of around the house. She cleaned the car, hoovered every room, sorted out old clothes for the charity shop. Her parents couldn't believe their luck. When she looked at the clock in the living room and saw that it was 8 o'clock, she was surprised. Didn't know that was the time. It's still light out. Lola had been in denial all day. Doing the chores had been a welcome distraction from what she would read later tonight. She was restless. She couldn't sit still. She was flicking through every channel on TV, not watching anything. She made herself a Marmite roll. She wanted time to go as quickly as possible, so kept herself as busy as possible. She waited until it was an acceptable time to go to bed and told her parents she'd have an early night. You know what? I'm not playing by that book's rules. I'll open it at 9:03, show it who's in charge. Lola took a pen and wrote on a blank page. Well? ? She waited a few moments. No reply. Lola began to lose her temper and began writing in big letters, taking up the whole page. Well? ? But her well wasn't coming out properly. Her pen was running out. But this is brand new, stupid book. And with that, Lola chucked the book at a large cuddly toy bear chair in the corner of the room. The book bounced off, smashed her compact mirror, which was on the floor, and to Lola's outrage, polystyrene balls were pouring out onto the carpet. Her huge bear now had a tear in the material. She looked over at the book. It was completely unscathed. If anything, it looked in better quality than when she first bought it. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you! She shouted at the book. Her dad came in. Who do you hate? Sundays, Lola said, 'cause there's school tomorrow. Well, I hate work too, but you don't hear me shouting about it, do you? Sorry, Dad. I'm going to bed now. Just got to tidy up a bit.
The Storybook Spooks. End of Part 2.